Felicia Spencer. I believe I have that name right for sure. Spencer. Canadian gal. Tough. Featherweight. Had a fight. Won. It was her debut. She then called out Cris Cyborg. I like that. I've got no problem with that. I don't have answers for you guys on where the featherweight division is going to go. Cris Cyborg reportedly has one fight left on her contract. Now, that's very relevant. And even though you guys are, hey, spare me the details, Chael. Don't get lost in the weeds. Just let me know when people are fighting. I get it, but sometimes these details are totally irrelevant when they're against other politics and bureaucracy. Listen, that division was created for Cris Cyborg. We were told this. Lorenzo Fertitta was paying her salary at Invicta to keep her busy and keep her active, and Invicta just simply couldn't write the checks. Lorenzo steps in and goes, I think we have something here. We're eventually going to pull her over. We're working on a division. Let's keep her active, and let's treat her right. Invicta, I'll float the boat. Never got credit for it. I'm not positive that Cris Cyborg even knows that and has ever thanked him, but that is how much Cris Cyborg was behind the development of the 145-pound class for the women. So the relevance is, if she is going to go, she's got one fight left on her deal. If she doesn't come to terms and have the ability to extend that contract, that whole division could go away. Don't forget, the champion's already left. A lot of people do forget this. Amanda Nunes is the champion, but she moved up in weight. She prefers to fight at 135. And the way she sees it, she has more parity and more opportunity. It fights a little better at 135. I think that's very arguable. Pretty arguable where Amanda fights the best, but this is what she said. So she's sliding back down to 135. Point being, if you do away with the division, you don't really have the same problem that, say, they would at flyweight, where you're getting rid of an active champion. Champion's already gone in many ways. You can debate what I just said, but in many ways. So it does come down to, where's that division going to go? Now, let's go back to Spencer, because I really like that she called out Cyborg, and I saw no problem with it. A lot of people thought she was just trying to get attention. Maybe. I don't know if that was her goal. Maybe she was. Maybe she's a competitor. That's how I preferred to take it. Maybe she's looking at that division and there was no other meaningful name to say in the microphone, so why not just go after the queen? Again, I could be wrong. That's how I interpreted it, and I liked it. Now, I want to critique one thing. She then went from this to talking about money. She said, if I'm going to fight Cris Cyborg, then I'm going to need to be paid what other people have been paid to fight Cyborg. And I know some of those numbers because they were disclosed. For example, and she made her examples, she is well within her right as a prize fighter to go out and try to earn a prize. I would never stop or encourage her to not do that. She did nothing wrong. She did not make apples to apples comparisons, though. The girls who she named, who did have disclosed very handsome sums to fight Cris Cyborg, were also fighting Cris Cyborg at the time that Cris was the champion of the world. So now you know it's going to be a world title fight, and you also know it's going to be a main event. That's very relevant to what somebody's worth is within this industry. I can assure you, if they go fight, and that's next, it will not be for a world championship. And I can also assure you, it will not be a main event. So you didn't make an apples to apples comparison, but what you did to me that hurt me as a fan, okay? I loved that Spencer had the courage. When she watches, I don't want to think any part of old Chael's giving her a hard time. Not at all. I'm just sharing my personal reaction to that. My personal reaction was, whoa, how cool was that? She's willing to go right after the queen after only having been in here one time. How cool. I miss gals like that. When you then bring up the money publicly, go do the money dance. Just make sure you do it quietly. When you do it publicly, it now gives me, whether I'm accurate or inaccurate, but it leaves me with the perception that it's a cash grab. And sometimes in fighting it is. Believe me, those girls that you were comparing yourself to that went in there against Cris Cyborg and did the JOB for a little CASH, yes, absolutely, it was a cash grab. They did not have a chance to win. They knew that. They walked out there. If I'm going to get humiliated and I'm going to take a beat and somebody's going to have to write me a check, I get it. That is a part of the business. But if you are undefeated in the UFC, even if it's only at 1-0, and if you say the queen's name and you get her to accept, which she quickly did, even said, we'll do it at your hometown of Canada, boy, we've got something special there. What a unique opportunity for Spencer. What an incredible matchup for Cyborg. Possibly even some signs for the rest of us as fans as to what is to come with the entire damn division. And frankly, Spencer did nothing wrong. She has the right to then ask for the money. That's why you ask for those big fights. To get yourself more attention, closer to a title, further down the card, and ultimately a bigger paycheck. Spencer did nothing wrong. She just shouldn't have done it publicly. Publicly, if she went out like she did, made a demand, and got the queen to bite, which she did, she's winning. Oh, you won, Spencer, you won in the highest ways. The highest ways. It was a sincere call out that got the reaction you wanted. That was, yes. Your comparison to the other girls, no, you're not right. Fine, you're still on the right track. Just save the ask for a private room. It's the only thing I would ask as a fan. I don't want to, I've heard so many people say, all the way back to when I was a little kid, I'd fight. So Mike Tyson was having fights. Guys were getting 10 and 15 and $20 million. I'd fight him for $20 million. Ha ha ha. They were serious. They really would. They go out and they get busted up and they'd wake up in the hospital and they'd have $20 million. They were serious. How hard is that? That doesn't show an elite skill or even elite courage. I think I could open my front door up and just point anywhere and find somebody. Hey, would you fight Fedor? Yeah, I'll do it for $1 million. Right? So even though that is a piece of it, I fully am aware that it is. I would just encourage you, and this is only for me. I'm not really giving you a business tip here. This is just for me as a fan. I still need to believe that this is competitive in nature, that this is based around conflict, or this is based around competitive skills for like-minded dreams in a division. I do not want to see that you are business partners. I do not want to hear about the money. I wish you guys all the best. Do it in a quiet room.